So how can you live on a flat earth and not know it? Pretty simple. Because you can live on a spinning ball and not know it. Just ask every single person who lived on the planet up until about 500 years ago. And if it wasn't for NASA, which is an agency started by the government, renowned for lies and secrets, what could you prove and not prove about the world that you live on? And where would you go for your source for truth? So if I can show you some stuff about NASA lying, would you be interested in hearing more about what the Bible says about your world? Stuff like guys being caught in the background of models. Stuff like this guy's harness busting and then him standing up in the International Space Station. Stuff like green screens in the International Space Station. Stuff like water bubbles during spacewalks and scuba gear being spotted on spacewalks. Not to mention the fact that if you speed up the moon footage, it looks like they're back here on Earth. So if you're interested, please check out the video below. I'd much appreciate it. And as always, God bless. You know what? Changed my mind. We're gonna talk about it right now. As many of you know, I have this rare condition where I can feel the spin of the earth. Well, turns out I found out that that really only happens when I drink IPAs like they're Coors Light. So, and turns out that the Bible says that we live on a still flat earth under a dome. So that started me down this crazy path of truth. So today we're going to talk about Antarctica and mixing Hennessy with Red Bull, which I imagine would also make me feel the spin of the earth. So Antarctica on the flat earth is not a continent per se, but it is a continental ice shelf that surrounds the flat earth and holds the waters in. So any of you guys scared of falling off the edge, you don't have to worry about that. Antarctica's got it covered. But just like on a globe, if you were to continue to go south, same thing is true on the flat earth, because the center of the flat earth is the North Pole. So everywhere that you head south, you would end up hitting Antarctica, just like on a globe, no difference. And just like on a globe, you can't buy a compass that points south because there is no South Pole.
It's like the deep South Pole, if there was one. There isn't, though.
Thank you, Ryan Reynolds. So NASA was formed after a series of military expeditions to Antarctica, and upon which they could have possibly found the dome, the firmament that separates the waters above from the waters below, as talked about in Genesis 1. So they find it, and then they have a 12-country treaty stating that Antarctica is off limits to any kind of private exploration. The only exploration that's allowed is government-sanctioned exploration. And the 12 countries that were involved in that treaty all currently have space agencies. So NASA was created, in my opinion, to propagate the idea that we actually live on a ball. Because for 500 years, people were saying we lived on a ball before we even had the ability to go high enough to see if it was a ball. So I want to talk to you about a Hennessy commercial that has depicts a gentleman named Auguste Piccard, who built a capsule to take him into the stratosphere with a balloon, much like the guy in the Red Bull space jump. You can see on this video him going high into the clouds and looking back and checking out the earth. And when he was interviewed, he actually said that from that height, the earth appeared flat with an upturned edge. This is before the birth of NASA. So flat with an upturned edge, just like it appears from inside the capsule of the Red Bull space jump, from the only non-fisheye lens used in that video. So from the outside, here's a fisheye lens and the curve. Inside, non-fisheye, flat. So which is it, curved or flat? Anyways, I'm only bringing you guys what I find as I find it. Bottom line, if you can't trust NASA, What can you prove and not prove about the world that you live on? And if you can't trust NASA, where are you going to go for your truth? I move that we should start and finish with the Bible and measure things by it. So I know, this video is almost over, but in closing, the word Nasha in Hebrew has a couple of different meanings depending on which way you use it. It can mean to lift up, like a rocket to space, or it can mean to beguile, like the serpent beguiled Eve in the garden. And we all know that the NASA logo has a nice big serpent tongue in it. So you may ask yourself, well, what does this all mean? What does it matter, the shape of the earth? Well, the Bible says Neil McCarty is the man.
The Bible does say that.
The Bible says that, hey, you want to stay in this?
Do what?
Do you care if you're in it?
Are there royalties involved?
Maybe. The Bible says that in him all things were created. It says that the heavens declare his glory and the firmament declares his handiwork. It also says that man is without excuse because of creation. And I could see that if they went to Antarctica and found the dome, the firmament separating us from the waters above, like it says in Genesis, why Satan would want that to be hidden, because that would prove that this place was created, it has a creator, and it would prove the biblical account. So I can see the motive there. So I'll leave you with that. I'll also leave you with the end of the Hennessy commercial, which depicts Auguste Piccard going up so high that he actually busts through the firmament into the waters above. Enjoy. And we all know that unreal.